On the internet as well as being live in the room. Hello everyone, welcome to hour 55 of Adventurers Wanted. Yay! That means you have entered this story just over halfway through because we are running a continuous storyline for the entire run of the Fringe. That means that there is a lot of story that has happened, and it means that there will be more story happening in this hour. Please, if at any point during this you're saying, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on, feel free to shout out, ask from the audience. We have a very panto atmosphere and understanding with our audience. So if you'd like to give me a panto ooh right now just to test you. That makes me really happy, I'm sorry. That's great. Thank you very much. Because of that, we have a relaxed attitude to sound and movement from the audience in general. That is for the benefit of people who would have difficulty being still and silent for an hour. If at any point during the show you would like to step out or you would need to step away for a second, those two doors are the way out as you came in, and there are sweet staff members wearing red and black t-shirts, so grab them if you need any assistance. They also have key fobs to let you back into the room, which you're welcome to do at any point during the hour as well. The lighting will stay just like this. There will be some background music, but as we aren't a completely relaxed performance, there will also be some loud noises from the back from our friend Wilhelm. There we go. Lovely. So expect those throughout the hour too. So, we are playing Dungeons & Dragons. Does people know what that means, generally speaking? No, we have some newbies. Fantastic, thank you. Dungeons & Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game. The four people to my left and right play characters in a shared fantasy universe, and I play the rest of that shared universe and all the people they encounter and things that they do. So between us, we collaboratively tell a story, and they have character sheets in front of them. Thank you, Reese, which allows them to have special abilities and things they can do that others can't. It also means there's a lot of maths when we roll dice to see what happens, which we'll try and skip over quickly. Yeah, well done.
It doesn't count if it's not on the table, right?
Yeah. We will try and cut through the maths quite quickly because it can get quite dull. But just so you know, in very basic terms, we spend most of our time rolling a dice like this, 20-sided. So a 1 is awful, a 20 is brilliant, so feel free to boo or cheer, depending on how you feel about that individual character. That is your prerogative. Before I dive too deeply into the story, let's introduce the players and their characters. So starting on my right with you, Reese, can you please give your name, your character's name, what pronouns you and your character use, and a little bit of background to your character. Mostly just describing them, because we have quite a few animal characters with us today.
Absolutely. My name is Reese. I am playing Professor Digby Drawsell, who is a tabaxi. A tabaxi is this cat person. I look a bit like an ocelot. And I'm a druid, and druids are these magical spellcasters that are really connected to the natural world.
Thank
you. And before all of the bad things happened in the last 5 years, I was a professor at university, but now I am fighting in this rebellion, trying to liberate the good people of this world.
So you're a cat person who used to be a university professor, including the tweed jacket and elbow patches.
Oh yeah, I look the part of a really bad geography teacher.
Excellent. I hope you're getting some of the tone of this. Far away.
I'm Andrew, and I'm playing Galadriel Moonbeam, a female elven rogue. So I try to be stealthy, and it seems that I also have an itchy trigger finger, as established last session.
I'm really sorry. Again, I've forgotten my pronouns.
Thanks,
He,
mate.
him.
He, him.
She, her.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm G. I'm a he, him. My character is Harvey, also a he, him. An Aarakocra, which is a bird kind of person. In my particular case, very parrot-like, very kind of blue and yellow plumage. I also, because of story reasons, have the spirit of a dwarven barbarian inside me, and so I've got a large bear paw print tattoo, or not, sort of
like a burned-on seared handprint.
Yeah, like a sigil sort of burned into my feathers in a burned in a blue kind of way.
Yeah, a dwarf barbarian gave his life so that Harvey could live about 30 hours ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah, good. So that is part of canon now, part of the story. Mark.
My name is Mark. My character is a he, him. I'm playing a Dragonborn druid. His name is John Hisbord. He is a green Dragonborn. Now, picture your classic dragon standing up. That is what my character looks like. He is also very, very passionate about animals. Think of Peter with claws. But he has no memory before the rebellion.
Interesting. Lovely.
Can I just say that Peter with claws is one of my favourite phrases of...
Peter with claws.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah. That works for me. Who's Peter? This might be a reference I'm not getting, because I'm not English.
Protection of animals.
Oh, Peter.
Peter, not Peter.
P-E-T-A, Peter. Right, good, lovely. Sorry, I'm not English, so sometimes these things go over my head. Lovely! So, what's been happening to date? Can we have the music back in? Let's get some tone going. Thank you. The four characters to my left and right are part of a rebellion. This rebellion rebelled against an evil cult, which enslaved all of them 5 years ago when their ancient elder god appeared in this universe, destroyed a lot of it, and then disappeared again. That cult and the rebellion have been in a tense battle back and forth, trying to retake the country from each other. And at this point, the cult forces have amassed and are heading towards Holmwood, the hometown of most of these characters, and are looking to destroy it. And in doing so, return everything back to the way it was and defeat every single member of the rebellion in one fell swoop. If you're getting overtones of Star Wars, yeah, there. However, we're not there. We're in Goldcrest. Goldcrest is the capital of this country, and some of the elf rangers, including which some of our party are part of... Did you not get that? Oh, bless.
We're going to the trench right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's Star Wars. You got there. Some of the elf rangers, which Galadriel is part of, but not part of this movement, have stolen this powerful ore they were mining out of the ground. This ore has explosive properties, and the elves have stolen a huge amount of it to place it beneath Goldcrest and beneath the castle in the centre, presumably to blow the whole thing sky high and scupper some of the cult's activities. However, this magical explosive ore is incredibly dangerous and may have strange effects on the world around it, including time travel. It's been established as well. So, our heroes are currently in a position of trying to stop this from happening. Or maybe they want this massive explosion to go off, destroy this part of the cult, and then go back and help their friends. I don't know. It's their choice. That's part of this game. So, the three of you have managed to sneak your way into Goldcrest, past the cult forces, and made your way downstairs into the jail. The jail which runs underneath the city and is part of the sewerage system as well. And you know that there is a path through some horrible tombs that lead underneath the castle to a crypt where you presume, from what the elves have told you and you've uncovered so far, the ore is being kept and will presumably be set off at some point. Mark, where is John at this point? You were part of the rearguard trying to stop the cult from defeating everyone who tried to flee from Goldcrest during the last major attack. You could have stuck around, seen these guys and followed them, if you'd like to.
I would probably say that would be what my character would have done.
Excellent. Now all four of them are together. That makes my life a lot easier. Good. So...
Also, as he knows a lassie, he would like to know what's going on.
Of course. Yeah. So, John, you have followed these three and their flame-haired bard companion, who will not be playing in this hour because she is not playing at the table. You have followed them into the jail complex, and behind you, as you step your way past these two early elf scouts, which you managed to calm into believing that you are allies of theirs, suddenly a giant green dragonborn is also stepping down the stairs behind you. Some of you will know John from previous adventures.
Oh. Well, this is convenient.
The archers who you calmed look at the dragonborn and look up and raise their bows slightly, but they are still under the effect of a calm spell and don't appear to be too angry, just a bit surprised.
He's an ally.
Ah, thank you.
Long story short, trying to get down the tunnel, make sure they don't blow things up.
I'm assuming this is in Druidic.
Yes.
What does Druidic sound like? Druids speak their own special language, Druidic.
It's a mix of like bird chirping, animal squeaking, and the sound of like breaking wood and rubbing stone.
I mean, you're making this with your mouth, so there's a microphone right in front of you.
Why do you do this to me?
Because you set yourself up for these things, Reese. I can't help you. John, you understand what he's saying because you two speak Druidic. Would you like to respond?
No.
Smile and nod.
Smile and nod. Brilliant. That is communicated to you. You are aware of the situation. What would everyone like to do? These two elves at the front of this underground jail, which is a large stone room with metal gangplanks and walkways and cells in it. You could easily make your way past them and head further down where there are more elves, although you get the sense that these two, since they were calmed by your spell, are being very passive, but the others probably won't be. There is a sound from below of some shouting and some uproarious behaviour.
Shall we try bluff our way past?
Well, let's just walk past them as they seemed happy and just tell them to keep watch.
I turn to them. What exactly is the lassie's plan?
I thought you were our allies. You should presumably know this.
We are, but we were creating a distraction so that you guys could infiltrate down here.
Oh, right, okay. Well, she's going to... The ore is now being placed under the castle, and then it will be ignited and destroy everything. All of Goldcrest will be gone. All of the cult forces here will be gone. Be a major blow.
Who's going to ignite it? Whoever ignites it will die.
They both make a gesture, which you recognise is an elf gesture of sacrifice across the chest, and go, "We are willing to die for our cause." Wisatris, the elven enchanter who had joined you throughout this adventure, is standing alongside watching this happen and raises an eyebrow.
Well, no time to stand around. Let's go.
Yes.
The five of you head into the jail and are heading towards the cell where you hear quite a bit of commotion and noise. What would you like to do?
Sneak in, have a look. Or should we just stroll in confidently?
As you sneak towards the door, you can see inside a little. There are 5 elves currently manhandling Flair, your bard friend who teleported in there in a rather rash choice. And they are trying to tie her up and hold her down, but are very careful touching her because her head is on fire. She is a half genie with a flaming hair.
And question, where is the ore while they're trying to do this?
What you see is there is one box that you know contains the ore, because that was where it's being stored. Being held, it is just on the side of this room. There is an open wall, it looks like a secret door leading down what looks like a straight line corridor with various strange alcoves off the side of it. You see multiple undead bodies lolling over various bits of it, but you can only see one box of the ore at the moment.
More to the point, is the flame near it?
No. They're being very careful for semi-obvious reasons.
I walk in, pause in the air and go, "Allies, please stop. This is unnecessary."
Can you please roll a persuasion check to persuade them that you are allies?
Oh yeah.
18.
All of us?
Oh, you son of a gun!
One of the elves rolled a 20.
Oh dear.
Most of the elves take a look at you with a kind of, yeah, whatever, we don't care, we're dealing with this problem, but one turns and goes, "I've not seen you before. You're not part of this."
I'm not part of the Ranger party, no, but pleasure to meet you, Professor Digby Drusel.
He steps back, pulls an arrow out and just he's knocking the arrow down here, but stepping back, looking at the 4 of you entering and saying, "Lads, she may not be the only one." And some of the other elves are also pulling out arrows and looking at you all with some consternation.
Where is Elassie? She
Who
was
are
part
you
of
to
my
be asking?
party.
Well,
We started this together. Where is she?
she is busy, and if you don't know where she is or what she's doing, then you don't belong here. We were told to let no one pass, cult or otherwise. I am sorry.
Interesting. So you would shoot allies.
For the greater good, yes. 3 of them are now standing in front of the greater good. The 3 of them are now standing in front of the doorway which leads into this tomb area, and all have knocked arrows and are just watching you. 2 of them are currently struggling with Flair.
Can I
Someone open some crisps in the back. Yes.
Can I palm a dagger at this point and go up to somebody within, lynching distance and
Of course you may palm a dagger and go within lynch distance of one of your allies. That's totally fine. Roll a sleight of hand check, please.
Certainly. 17.
You have a dagger in a slot on your hip. You quietly just roll your hand up your hip. The dagger is now palmed, and you're holding it by your side. You can easily step over to one of the two holding flare and do whatever you will.
I wish to proceed past them.
Okay.
And I hope they don't stop me.
The two holding flare are, at this moment, to one side of the chamber. The other three are standing in front of the door, and they are all warding you off. They are in some sense that the 5 of you are not part of this, and they don't want to let you past. But they seem to be somewhat uncertain about attacking and hurting you because you are allies. You just disagree with each other. In a moral conundrum that we set up.
I'm going to produce flame.
Where and how?
It's one of my
It's one of your cantrips, that's fine, which creates it in your hand.
It actually just forms on my shoulders.
Forms on your shoulders. Fire just forms on your shoulders, coursing around your draconic head.
And I'm just going to say I can easily reach that before you can get an arrow off. I want to talk to a lassie.
You mean you're pointing at the all?
Yes.
Okay, they look perturbed.
I step forward, also trying as best I can to look intimidating.
Next to a 7-foot dragonborn with fire on his shoulders.
I use my wings to kind of make myself a bit
You
bigger.
peacock. Please tell me you peacock.
No, more of an angry swan kind of.
You angry swan!
That's what I'm going for. I just say, this is the wrong course of action. We need to stop these people, but this is not the way to do it.
While you say this, one of them has stepped into the corridor and is backing up into the corridor. They are slowly retreating from this situation. What are the two of you doing?
Well, we're continuing on past them to find the rest of the way.
I'm going to the other side of the room. I'm going for the tunnel.
Okay. If you step forward at this point, the arrows that were held down are raised. All 3 of them, the one in the corridor, the one in front of the corridor, kneels down. You get the sense these are very experienced rangers when it comes to fighting with arrows in enclosed spaces. And the one next to it also has an arrow notched. 2 of them are pointed directly at you to stop you before you get to the orcs. They don't want that to happen. But they are all preparing themselves. The 2 holding flare are kind of stuck because they're in the middle of holding someone and don't really want to get involved. If anything, they're edging towards the far side of the room to the door that you came in to try and get out of the way. If you come any closer, we will fire.
We'll just kind of edge round as they're edging round, you see, as we get towards the grate.
You're still edging around, but if you attempt to get down the corridor, they will open fire on you.
Is there a wall near me?
Yes.
I think I'm going to confuse them a little bit. And I'm going to stone shape. Step into the wall.
Lovely. You cast stone shape on yourself.
Yes.
And step in. Can you step into the wall directly to cast stone
Yes.
shape? Lovely.
Yeah, that's meld with stone's ability as well.
Yeah,
Meld with stone.
Meld with stone.
Thank you. Sorry, stone shape is a cantrip and it's only 5 feet, but you meld with stone, and the dragonborn on fire suddenly steps into a wall and disappears. The elves look a bit confused, but then just turn their arrows and train them on the swanning bird, and you two as well, making sure they keep you all in eye line.
I think that was a distraction. I'm going to make a dash for the
Make a run for it.
Yeah.
Cool. Initiative time. Everyone roll. Initiative dice, please.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
6.
Anyone roll above a 25? Above a 20?
7.
We'll get there. Above a 15.
16.
16. Digby and Galadriel. I think Galadriel will go first there because Galadriel is a very quick elf. And my scouts rolled that. Good to know. We're below a 10.
7.
7. 6. Yeah. Cool. Lovely. Galadriel, what are you going to do?
Is there anybody in front of the tunnel?
Yes, there is one halfway down it, one in front of it, and the other is next to it. Good luck getting past 3 of them.
Yeah, that will be tough.
Yes, it will. I've made this difficult for you. Almost intentionally. Go ahead, stab one of your friends. These are all people that you know.
Okay.
Wait. If they get to say the greater
One.
good, don't we get to say the greater
Good.
One is called Jeff.
Okay, well, I'm going to go up to Jeff then. And
Jeff's the one standing next to the door, watching you approaching, and the bow just turns and the arrow points towards you. Don't make me do it.
It's okay.
Gala, don't make me do it.
I'm going to walk up to him.
Gala, don't make me do it. If you get any closer, I will shoot you.
And I'm going to then try and get a knife to his throat. And
Not actually
damage him.
Make a contested grapple check. Best way to do this. You can use athletics, I'm afraid. I can use either.
Oh dear.
That's a 20 from me.
I am not succeeding in that task then.
As you move forward, Jeff brings his bow up and he's going to attack you on his turn. Sorry.
Okay.
That is your action. You do have a bonus action, Rogue. What would you like to do?
Being a rogue, I get a cunning action.
You do indeed.
Of which I am going to use it to make probably... I've just got a bow disengaged, which is probably no use.
He also has swords by his son.
Could I try and...
Hide behind the crate of ore?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best at this point, yeah.
Roll a stealth check for me. They'll know that you're there, but it's whether they can see you or not. We're checking.
Well, I could also make a dash, so could I actually go behind the crate of ore rather than hiding? Because you're quite right, they'll see me anyway. But I rolled a 19.
What you do is you try and leap forward towards Jeff. Realize you're not going to be able to grab a hold of him. He's very like you, very wily. You manage at this point, realizing your situation. You basically lean back, backflip over the crate, and land behind it. They can't see you, so attacking you is going to be very difficult.
Okay, that will be sufficient.
Digby,
What up?
what up, Professor?
Okay, so this is probably going to be a really bad move, but sod it. I am going to pull a big old ball of yarn out of my pocket, throw it on the ground,
You throw it on the ground.
at which point there's a puff of dust and stones. As you know, when cats do that thing in the dirt where they just kind of roll around on their backs, just a bunch of them appear and surround me as I cast stone skin on myself.
Ah.
Ooh.
You, as you do this, stone dust wafts up from underneath you and starts to cling to you from these cats, and you are now. Was it your AC go up, or is it?
Oh, I resist all bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
Oh, very good, excellent. As your skin appears to speckle and harden underneath this effect. That is your action. Would you like to take a bonus action?
I would like to run towards the door. Just full on sprint. 60 foot.
Because you're going to impact someone by running forward, I will allow you to run and shove them effectively.
Cool.
Please make an athletics check.
Has he perhaps used his reaction versus me?
Wrong one, just inside of the door.
Okay.
Someone is in the doorway.
8.
8. As you bound forward into the doorway, you impact the elf that was kneeling on the ground, who stands up to get in your way, and you just fall to the ground, a rolling ball of fur and elf and cartoon puff smoke just rolling around at the base of this door. Right. It's now the scout's turn. The two holding Flare edge out of the room and disappear to the back. They are getting out of the way to avoid this situation because they don't want to get caught up with it, and I don't want Flare to get hurt in this because she's not here, and that would be unfair. So, at which point, Jeff, seeing you turn and leap behind, wants to follow you and deal with the situation, Gala, but also sees the situation on the floor in front of him, and instead of using his bow, pulls out two short swords and just tries to separate the cat and the elf on the floor. What is your armor class?
14.
14. One of their sword strikes slashes out and cuts you across your midriff, skipping across the stone form you have built around yourself, so you only take 2 points of damage. What a waste. But you are separated.
Was that halved?
Yeah, I have it already.
Oh, sweet.
2. So you are separated and pushed away, so you are pushed back and the creature on the floor is no longer grappling you. However, as you are pushed away, the elf on the floor straightens, and as you are pushed, also pulls out 2 swords and makes a stab at you as you go.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's a lot better. 16 and a natural 20, which means it's a critical.
Great. I didn't like this character anyway.
9 plus 8 is 17. So halved, you take 8 points of damage as you are cut by these swords as you are pushed back. However, as the elf who cuts you lashes out with his two swords, he also steps back and ducks down. And the elf behind you in the corridor, who was waiting for this moment, fires 2 arrows from her bow, taking a bonus action to make sure she really targets very well. For some reason that doesn't work particularly well, as the first arrow skitters wide. However, the second impacts directly in the centre of your chest, doing quite a lot of damage. Yep.
You're going to kill a cat, mate?
I'm going to kill a cat. That is 18 halved, so 9 points of damage as an arrow launches out and embeds itself in the stone in your chest as you stumble back. These 3 managing to hold you off. They use their movement. One, the elf in the corridor, moves further down the corridor, keeping a line of sight down the corridor to be able to shoot with her arrows, while the other 2, the one who was being grappled, steps back and also pulls out their bow, while Jeff stands in front of the doorway, short swords drawn, ready to defend himself. John, you're in the wall. Because you're in the wall, you don't know what's going on, because you can't see, because you are literally melded with stone.
But you can hear.
What?
I can hear.
You can hear. It's part of the spell.
You can hear outside the sounds of combat. What would you like to do?
Step back out the wall.
You step out of the wall next to the crate of ore, because that's where you stepped in. From inside the crate, you can hear the fizzing and sputtering of the ore. It is now activated, which means a sharp tap will make it explode. Please be aware, a crate of this ore exploding at this distance will kill all of you. I would love to be more like, I'll roll some dice, see what happens. It will kill all of you.
Definitely putting out my flame immediately, which should have technically gone out when I stepped into the wall.
For effect, you step out on fire, the flame goes down.
Can I see down the corridor?
You can very easily sidestep to see down the entire corridor, yes.
Okay. Is there any ore within the corridor?
No. And the 3 elves are, this one's for Sid if he's watching, in a line.
Lovely.
I am not. I don't want to be that guy, but am I in that line?
Yes!
You technically are in front of them, correct?
Yep. Cat on the floor. Elf. Elf down the corridor.
Excellent. Moonbeam.
Cool.
Which is a center point. It will not hit the cat.
Correct.
It will hit all of them.
You create a... You summon the spirit of the moon. How do your spells summon the moon?
I've got this one written down for
Oh,
once.
splendid.
In Draconic, I will be saying, Willenar, pointing at them. There will be a lovely 5-foot cube in the middle of them, and just very bright moonlight shining down.
From the ceiling.
From the ceiling, it's 40 foot high, so anything above it's also going to be very, very light.
I'm starting to feel this game slightly ridiculous.
Why? What's wrong with moons? What's wrong with beams?
Indoors.
It works!
Magic!
What I will say, because otherwise it does a bit silly, is that a beam of moonlight shines out from yourself, but you're quite tall, so it goes over the cat and casts itself up the corridor, affecting all 3 of the elves, because that's a cool effect. What damage are you rolling?
It will be 2d10 radiance, but there should be a save if I remember
dexterity,
correctly.
It's Constitution.
Constitution. Ooh, they're not bad at that, but they rolled terribly. They are all affected by this. Give me the damage.
10, 15 damage each.
Beam of moonlight shines down the corridor, searing the skin of all 3 of the elves as they stumble back. The moon is normally their friend as elves, but this appears to have caught them off guard. Lovely. Harvey, you are still not peacocking, swanning at the back.
Swanning. Back.
Which means something entirely different now, I just realised. Yeah.
So Harvey's from originally from a pacifist humanitarian tribe, and these
Really?
are yeah,
First I've heard of it.
yeah. He's been a slave for 5 years. Like that's
Okay.
He's had to learn how to be a bit violent.
Mate, it's your
sometimes.
character. Tell me what you do.
So he wants to not harm his allies as much as possible. So he casts command at 3rd level.
Command at 3rd level to
Yeah.
affect 3 creatures, the 3
Yeah.
elves presumably.
Yes,
What would you like to say to them?
leave. Like pointing at the door, leave, or towards like the exit that we've all, the tunnel we all came in through.
Wisdom saving throws?
Yes.
1 fail, 2 fail, 3 fail.
Yeah.
Terrible
Did you
rolls
just
from me.
solve this whole combat with a word?
Yeah.
All three of them, hearing your commands, blink and use their movement on their next turn to get out of the way and run out of the door. It will only last one round, so they'll realise what happened very, very quickly. So they are getting out of the way. You can all easily make your way down this corridor, but be advised, you will be being chased.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very well.
I'm cool with that.
It is also only a
Collapse the wall
5
behind
foot
us.
by about 5 foot
I?
by 10 foot corridor. It's not wide, so you will need to use your feet and can't fly.
Yeah.
Do you peg it down the corridor?
Yeah.
Do you peg it down the corridor?
1 second, I'm looking up what a spell does.
Okay. Do you peg it down the corridor?
Yes.
Do you peg it down the corridor?
Before pegging it, dropping the moonbeam.
Lovely. Thank you. So the moonbeam disappears, and the three of you are running down the corridor, stepping over your tabaxi friend. Your tabaxi friend turns, looking back as the guards all looking rather
I don't have the
confused.
spell slot for it.
Your guard friends all sort of leaving the room looking confused. You are much faster than them, so I'll give you like a little one-liner if you want to give it to them before you go.
No.
Just go to.
Oh, yeah, I will run.
You have stood still for a turn, not doing anything, so you do have your feel and agility back if you want to use it.
Oh. Do I?
The cat turns, runs after its friends, and as it runs, it bounces off a wall, and lands in front, and is now at the head of the four of you, running forward down
90
the
feet, 6 seconds.
Exactly, it's incredible, fast cat movement.
Made of stone.
Behind you, you hear shouts of anger and arrows whiz past your heads. Well, that's a natural 20. One of the arrows embeds itself on the last person in the party. John!
Ow.
Sorry, man. You take 14 points of damage as an arrow embeds itself in your calf as you run. You are able to continue, but this corridor does twist and turn, but you may want to find a way to block it off, or else these elves will keep chasing you. Keeping in initiative order. Thank you. Lovely. Garlet, what would you like to do? Is there any way you can block this tunnel off? As you run past, you realise that this 5 foot corridor has these strange alcoves as you go along it, and inside each are undead creatures, dead bodies that have been murdered by elves as they went past.
I probably shouldn't just pull them down because the rest of the group are following behind. Maybe I could stop to, pull the skeletons back, and I could shoot an arrow down in a sort of covering fire type manner.
Absolutely. Can you make an attack roll for me, just to add your normal modifier with the dice, please?
Sure. It's 18.
18. You fire an arrow down the corridor, and you do hear the meaty impact as it manages to hit one of your allies on the way back, and there's a shriek. And you also pull a body off the wall as you do this, getting your friends to step round you and then continuing after them. You are slowing their passage. Digby.
1 second.
Sure. Would you like me to hold the turn and come back to you?
No, I should be good.
Okay.
Yes, I can do this.
Oh, splendid.
I will wait. Oh no, it's well within range.
Mm-hmm.
I take a quick moment.
Yep.
I turn, look beyond the party towards where they are.
Mm-hmm. Looking back down the corridor.
I dig my claws into the ground, and in a 20...
Stone. Your claws skitter on the stone.
And I cast Spike Growth.
Ah.
Right in front of them, 20-foot radius, difficult terrain, and they will take 2d4 piercing damage as they walk through it.
Talk to me about what your spike growth looks like with all this cat theology.
So the claws come out, and it's down into the ground, and you see like the dust shift all the way along the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at that point, like, you know when you play with cats and you got like that fishing rod toy, and like they leap up in the air for it. It's like that, but as they leap and disappear, it's just followed by a spike.
Oh, lovely. Very nice.
Maybe a claw.
As you do this, as you do this, there's a faint ow, and Wisatris appears next to you, having just spiked herself in the foot. Very clever, and continues past, following the rest of the party. All 5 of you have made your way through. But the elves behind appear to be being slowed by this, so you will have a bit of time to be able to make your way to this area and deal with this issue before they manage to reach you. As you continue down this corridor, you see that all of these undead have been killed or otherwise immobilized in their alcoves. There are a lot. We're talking probably in the 50s.
Wow.
But most of them are either, once again, returned to the earth, or some of them have been tied up and are snapping at your heels as you run past, or some have just had little nets put across the front of their alcove. But there are still a lot of undead here if you so chose to use them, or were interested in them. As you continue forward down this twisting, winding corridor, you realise the corridor is taking a slight upwards angle and is at a slight spiral effect in square form. So you are going up as well as along. And as you continue in this way, ahead of you, as you all slow, in front of you you can see the end of this tunnelling, and in front of you a cool blue stone and a cool blue light ahead of you, presumably of the tomb or crypt, at the end of this, where you believe Ilassi is. What would everyone like to do as you approach?
Can I take a hide action?
Yeah, roll stealth check, absolutely.
23.
You sidle up against the wall and sort of, by crouching near the wall and close to it, you are quite unobtrusive, and it becomes clear that you are hard to see at this point. You three can all move past if you so choose.
Can we hear anything?
Roll perception checks.
22.
22, excellent.
13.
13.
Or
You two hear nothing. Up
18.
ahead. Oh, 18.
Yeah.
Well, you're stealth. You're busy stealthing. Up ahead, you hear the sounds of elves talking.
Mm-hmm.
Because you rolled a 22, you can hear Elassi's voice very clearly saying, "Pilot up over there." Sorry, pilot up over there. Sartris behind you stiffens slightly.
She might listen to you.
Yes, I am in somewhat of a bind as to advising her on what to do.
We go in together.
would you mind if I try first?
What are you thinking?
Something that happened to us before.
I am her mother. I think together we may have more effect.
We have that same history.
Very well. So, John and Wasatris going first, the others behind.
Yeah.
You are stealth, so no one can see that you're there. With a 23, I'm going to say most of them aren't looking for you.
Before that happens, I'm just going to tap our feline friend on the shoulder and cure wounds.
Oh, splendid.
Oh, that's a good egg right there.
How long does stone skin last?
Oh, it's dropped when I cast spines.
Oh, okay, lovely. Maths, the exciting part of D&D.
+7.
7 hit points back.
7 hit points back. Nice one.
Very nice.
And I'd like to... we're not in initiative at the moment.
No, we're not.
So I would cast guidance on John and...
I'm afraid it is a concentration spell. You can only cast it on one person, and it lasts a minute.
Then on John.
Splendid. Thank you. John, you and Masatra step forward. She puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Daughter, we've come to talk." Inside the room you hear some shuffling. Together you step forward into the room. It is a beautiful, ornate crypt, a tomb of kings, if you will. It is beneath the castle. It is quite large. There is enough space for pews and people to sit. This was very clearly where the worship took place of the religion that was here before the cult came. The cult have left it largely abandoned. It is quite dusty. In the corner of one of the rooms is a pile of the ore. It is more than you have ever seen in one place before, apart from those who went into the horrible mine. For effect. It is more than you've ever seen in one place before. There are crates shoved against the wall, piles on top of it. It has all been piled up in one side. And you don't know, but you presume the elves have worked out where the best point to blow it all is, and it is clearly there. There are 10 elf rangers around the room. Some of them have gone to slightly higher vantage points. Some of them are moving along to get around you and Masatris as you enter. They are very clearly setting themselves up firing points to be more effective. Just forewarned. Ilassi is standing next to the pile of ore. What would you like to do? Masatris is going to step with you.
I'll Firstly, I'm just going to step forward and say, Elassie, we fought together. We were pledged to protect the forest and all that dwell in this. That includes those above, next to, around. How's destroying this going to help?
This isn't the forest. This is the capital city of a group of humans that I never trusted, and now a cult that I don't trust either. I know this isn't the best idea, and I know it will cost me my life. But I also know that it will save countless of our friends, and that is more important.
So instead of the vision for your people, you'll become the darkness?
There are others who can lead in my place. I mean, my mother's here, my father's somewhere.
Who are in the same radius?
Wasar just next to you sort of leans in and goes, I'm a very, very powerful spellcaster.
I'm still going to let that linger.
Right. And Elassie also looks at her mother and goes, it may be strange to you, but amongst us elves, there is an understanding about magic and about time. One my mother shares with me. And Wasar just next to her, sort of next to you, says, Daughter, I am conflicted. On the one hand, you are correct. The greater good. But on the other, this ore we do not understand. You do not know what will happen if you set it off in this way. This much concentration may tear a hole in space, a hole in time. We simply do not know. Dare you really risk it all? Elassie has a moment of doubt, and I don't know what else to do. At this point, the three of you are also entering the room behind. Would anyone like to say or do anything?
Yeah, I kind of want to get round behind guards, the guys that are positioning. I kind of want to creep round and try to out-stealth them.
Well, they don't see you as the other two enter the room, so you can easily make your way to you could make a one-person cordon outside their cordon. That might work. Yeah.
There's a lot of them, but you got to start somewhere.
Okay, head to the corner of the room, I'm going to say, and then you have a much better vantage point than they do.
Sure.
Fine by me.
I'm just going to say, remember what Shelby told you. Remember his words.
I'm going to describe who Shelby is.
Shelby was the turtle who was with us on our original mission.
Yes, he was. What did he tell me?
And he gave her a lovely tarot reading.
Yes, he did.
Basically advising her she should be a leader. She should be there for the greater good. That's what I was alluding to with avoiding the darkness and being the light she was meant to be.
Can you roll a persuasion check with advantage, please?
That's sweet advantage.
Is that right? Set it up. Fourth episode of this one.
18.
18. She looks at you, remembering. Looks at her mother. Well, we can't. We have to do something with it. We can't just leave it here. I mean, should we take it back? None of us need die if that is better, but I can't help but think that we must use this in some way, even if not to destroy it here.
How about a compromise? A token portion to make it sound like there's a massive explosion, but get the bulk away.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I was too rash.
Yeah, this has worked out well so far. We have one small issue, though. I say small. Getting out.
We were perfectly good at getting in.
True.
The door to the main castle opens and another scout steps in. Rushes up. No, it's not.
Oh.
Rushes up to Elasi and whispers in her ear. She turns. Time may be of the essence. It appears that some of the cult are approaching from above. They appear to have heard something, and glares at the god, who looks a bit sheepish.
Let's move swiftly then.
Time to go. Yeah.
There is a lot of ore. It is going to be very, very heavy. Getting it out will be very difficult. And there are enemies approaching from the north in this intractable, difficult situation. But Elasi has been convinced to stay her hand and not take this rather rash action. However, we have to end here at that hour. This ends this hour of Adventurers Wanted, because we only run for an hour. There is another hour after this. We play for 4 hours a day, so if you do want to find out what happens next, you can very easily cop outside to the Sweet Box office and buy a ticket for the next hour, and join us for the continuation of the story. We're on Twitter at Adventurers250, where Nemo, our stage manager, has been live tweeting this entire hour and will continue to do so, along with our other stage manager Naomi in the back, where you can also read what has happened to date and then what happens afterwards as well, if you can't join us in person. If you can't join us in person, you can also watch on twitch.tv. The web camera there streams out to the entire internet. Hello, Twitch stream.
Hello.
And there are lots of people on there to engage with about the story as well, if you so choose. When you're buying tickets at the Sweet Box office, you can also buy tickets to play, as Andrea did today, and Mark did today as well. They cost the same cost as sitting in the room to watch, so if you've never played D&D before, give it a go. We are aware there is a stereotypical D&D look that...
Is represented on the stage.
there's 5 men at the table. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. We do have a lot of players from... We do have a lot of female players. All of our stage managers and other producer are female, and we want to try and introduce as many people as... Oh, I'm sorry, Nemo. My apologies. Non-binary from Nemo there. We want to introduce this hobby to as many people as possible and as wide a range of people as possible. And to do so, we have a Patreon set up where you can... pop a quid in if you can, or $5. There are rewards starting as low as that, and with that you can join us in our mission of doing that in London, Edinburgh and in Brighton. But that's enough from me. Let's go to the rest of the people at this table and let them talk about things they're working on at the Fringe or in their home life as well. Mark, anything you want to plug?
If you like a cappella, unaccompanied singing, you might want to check out the Alleycats. They at the Assembly Blue Rooms 7 p.m. They are a brilliant student group from St Andrews, and I think it's their 9th year on the trot at the Fringe, so they are very good.
Excellent, thank you.
I'm working on a show that's on at the Traverse, but it's all sold out, so you can't go and see it. But
stop pitching it then!
I just like the joke. I just like the joke.
Okay, fine.
I write and draw things at a very slow pace, which you can have a look at on my website, which is macdermog.com, MacDermog. So please have a look at that.
And you can find some of his artwork on our website as well, if you care to take a look.
I'm a punter. I don't do anything else other than come here and play for 4 hours a day. But I would just encourage, go out there, explore. There's loads of hidden gems within the Free Fringe, and just enjoy your experience. Just go out there and be the best people you can be.
Very general plug there. Excellent. Thank you, Reese.
So I got 2 recommendations.
There we go.
My first is Amir Shah at the Free Fringe. He was at the Cab Vol, I think about 2 o'clock, and he was very good. Great, made you laugh, made you cry. He was very good, but you got to turn up early. And my other recommendation is, if you've never seen it before, you got to go see John Robertson's The Dark Room. It's a live interactive text, massive multiplayer game. I don't know. It's every game you've ever played from the 80s, and he's very specific about that, and it's very good. And he does a kiddies run as well, so you can take your small children.
Splendid. Thank you very much. That ends this hour. There is 1 more hour to go today. Do join us if you can. Otherwise, do enjoy the rest of your Fringe, and see you all soon. Thank you.
All right.